Well, was Calvin a capitalist? I think the best answer to that is yes and no. Certainly Calvin stands at a transition point in the history of the modern world. Transition from medieval economies to more modern economies. A transition from an economy that stressed order, stability, and serving those at the top rungs of society to an economy that stressed mobility of some sort, and that where wealth was more readily shared among the members of society, and the growth of the mercantile class, the growth of the trade classes. Certainly Calvin stands at that transition point. Calvin also felt that profit could be a good that could benefit all of society. Calvin was instrumental in changing some of the lending practices of his time, the way that we borrow and lend money. And Calvin felt that when money was lent well, that allowed people who didn't have sufficient resources to start a business, for example, to allow them to start a business. And so that allowed this change in lending practices did allow for great growth in medieval economies, including Calvin's hometown of Geneva. So yes, certainly some of the presuppositions of the modern capitalist economy can be traced indirectly to Calvin. But Calvin was suspicious of some of the things that modern capitalism hold up as goods. And the number one thing that I think he was quite suspicious of was that accumulation of wealth alone would necessarily be good. Okay? The reason why Calvin wanted to change lending laws, the reason why he wanted to change some of the practices of his economy, was that he felt that those changes would allow the wealth of society to be shared more broadly so that all people could partake in the gifts of society, and all people could express the gifts that were given to them by God. So accumulation of wealth alone, Calvin saw as problematic. The goal of economies should be the allowing of the great resources that God has given us to be more broadly and widely shared.